Hola a todos y bienvenidos. Welcome to our special Black Friday Coffee Break Spanish live stream. I hope that you are well today. I hope that wherever you are watching, the sun is shining, or if it's the middle of the night, I hope it's a calm night. Wherever you are very welcome. We are broadcasting live on YouTube and on our Coffee Break Spanish Facebook page at the moment. And this is part of a whole series of events that we are running today, explaining the ways in which you can make the most of our coffee break courses. Now, I have a question for you. ¿Cómo te llamas y dónde estás? Where are you watching from? Let us know where you're watching from in the comments, and that means I'll be able to say hello to you. Now, obviously, it is 4 p.m. here in the UK at the moment, and I guess 11 a.m. in the East Coast US and 8 a.m. over in the Pacific. On the Pacific coast. And if you're in Australia, then I'm guessing it's the middle of the night. And I kind of hope you're not watching if it's the middle of the night in Australia. But it's always difficult to know when to do these live events, and it's almost impossible to choose a time that will suit everyone. But this will be available after the event as a replay, both on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel. So, one way or the other, you'll be able to tune in and ask your question, or indeed, if you are wanting to get in touch with us, you can do so, and we'll be able to answer your questions online. So we've got Angus joining us from Escocia. We've got Regina in Georgia, US, and we've got Ju joining us. From Bath in the UK, and Mary Jane or MJ from Tucson, Arizona. Fantastic. Good to have you all here. Of course, I'm sure there are other people joining us too. I can see the numbers climbing as we speak. Okay, let us take a look at our slides. This is the fourth of 5 webinars that we're running today. As you can see, we started at 1 p.m. with French, then 2 p.m. for German, 3 p.m. for Italian, and now 4 p.m. for Spanish. And we've got one more to do this afternoon, and that is Swedish at 5 p.m. So if you're watching on our Coffee Break Languages YouTube channel, obviously the YouTube channel is for all of the languages. But if you are thinking, oh, this is not the one for me because I learn another language, then do check one of the other languages here. Sorry. Okay, sorry, just getting a message in my in my ear there. Okay, so as I said, today we are focusing on Spanish, and we are going to be talking through our Coffee Break Spanish courses and all of these, and explaining what they entail, what the lessons are involving, what order you should do these courses in. Because one of the questions we get most often is, I'm not sure where to start because I am at this level and I need to know what course to do in order to move to the next level, and so on. But I'll explain all of this today, and we'll talk through the courses. I'll explain how you can use our coupon code to get 40% off of these courses in our Black Friday sale. And I'll also take you behind the scenes of the Coffee Break Academy, where all our courses are hosted, and you can see what this looks like as a learner within the Academy, to see if this is something that you would enjoy using. But to begin with, let's talk through our courses. So our main courses are in seasons of 40 lessons. Each season has 40 lessons. And in each of these 40 lessons, you will be learning Spanish on your coffee break. The idea is that you'll be improving your Spanish or learning from scratch in 20-minute lessons, in informal, relaxed lessons, kind of like going for a coffee with your friend who happens to speak Spanish and can teach you. So they start at season 1 for absolute beginners, moving up to season 4 for higher intermediate into advanced. And we also have other materials, other courses like our magazines. We have courses like our reading club, the Travel Diaries, and Marcha, Espresso. Lots of content for you. But what I'm going to do is look at each one of these in turn and explain what is involved in the courses. So to begin with then, it's season 1. So this is for absolute beginners in Spanish. If you have never done any Spanish before and you're starting from absolute scratch, then this season is perfect for you. Likewise, if you're what we would determine to be a false beginner, if you have learned some Spanish in the past but perhaps forgotten a lot, or if you want to get a more solid foundation in your Spanish before moving on and perhaps want to review some of what you've previously learned, then season one will be very useful to you. We're focusing on transactional language, the kind of language that you would use if you're traveling in a Spanish speaking place, for checking into a hotel, for getting a bus ticket, for finding your way around the town, or making friends, ordering food and drinks, and so on. You'll be learning to use greetings to talk about yourself. If you're traveling, then there's practical language topics for traveling. And we'll also be introducing the grammar of Spanish. And this is something that is very important because it's not the case that you'll just be learning, let's say, a phrase to repeat, like you might do in some apps or something like that. This is not what Coffee Break Spanish is about. Coffee Break Spanish is helping you understand how the language works and then use it yourself so that you can say what you want to say rather than what some app or some book wants you to say, if that makes sense. So all the time we're focusing on building strong foundations in the language in order to be able to move on further through the language. So season one obviously has a free podcast, and you can listen to the podcast versions of these lessons, and you can find them in Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and so on. However, we also provide the online course, and the online course includes the audio lessons, video lessons where you're seeing the words on the screen, lesson notes which provide detailed explanations of the lessons, further examples, and more information about the topics that you're learning, bonus audio materials which help you test what you've been learning, and quizzes to help you check what you've learned. All of this forms the premium course, and there is each of these elements: the audio, the video, the lesson notes, and the bonus audio for every one of the 40 lessons, and then quizzes come at the end of each group of 10 lessons. So that is season one. Season two is in a similar vein. You continue to look at practical situations where you are going to be working through a variety of different topics. For example, you will be learning to talk about daily routine and the kind of things you do in the course of the day. And that means that you need to be able to use certain aspects of grammar. Now, we don't shy away from grammar. From the very beginning, we're looking at the different ways in which you can use the Spanish language and how you can change certain things. If you know how to say, I like something, then you need to be able to change that to say, you like something, or he likes something, she likes something, and so on. So right from the beginning, we're looking at the grammar of the language and how we can use the language. And that develops in season two. We'll be looking at a variety of tenses. So in Spanish, for example, you know that when we're talking in the past, we have to think about a past tense. And I say a past tense because there's no such thing as the past tense. There's the perfect tense for saying what you have done or what you've done this morning, this week, and so on. There's the preterite tense to say what you did last week or what you did last year. And there's the imperfect tense so that you can use what you used to do. You can talk about what you were doing when something else happens, and so on. So there are these different tenses in Spanish, and you're going to be learning all about these tenses in season two. You'll learn to basically manipulate the language, and you'll be able to say what you want to say rather than just this series of phrases that you might learn, as I say, in an app. But you're going to extend your knowledge in season two from season one. And then you even have a little soap opera, a kind of radio play at the end of season two, which puts into context all the language that you've been learning in the lessons up to that point. So season two has, again, the audio podcast, free lessons on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so on. But there is also the online course, and the materials for that online course are very similar to the materials in season one, in the sense that they again feature audio lessons, video lessons, lesson notes, bonus audio lessons, and quizzes. Moving on from here, I'm going to talk a little about the other courses that are at this intermediate level before we go on and look at season 3 and 4. Because very often when you're learning a language, it feels a little like you're going straight forward because you're making progress all the time. Each new thing that you learn feels like a new step that you're taking. I often think it's a little bit like if you like, walking through a thick forest on a path, and you've got the trees on either side, and it's all a little bit dark and gloomy. You don't really want to stray off the path because you want to focus on what you're doing, where you're going, walking forward through the dark forest. However, when it gets to a certain level of language learning, you then come out of the forest and you reach this sort of beautiful valley where there are lots of little paths off the path that will take you down to investigate something else. So it will take you down to a little brook that you can investigate and enjoy. And then a little further on, there's another path that leads off to somewhere else. And the whole thing about it is by that stage, you want to go down all these paths. So the previous progress that you made as you were going forward regularly, it kind of gets to a point where you think, I'm not making as much progress because you're going forward at a slower pace. But think about all the width that you're taking with you, because this breadth of knowledge that you're gathering as you go down all of these paths is so important. And that's why at the intermediate level, we try to provide lots of additional materials to help you go down those little paths and investigate more aspects of the language. So, on that note, let me bring this back here. That's the wrong box. There we are, the magazine. So, our magazine provides a series of texts which allow you to consolidate the language that you've learned. Early magazines, seasons 1 and 2, include video content where there are interviews with native speakers, and season 3 and 4 focus on more basically the cultural text. Sorry, I'm again pressing wrong buttons here. It's been a long afternoon. So you're focusing on cultural texts and learning about different places in the Spanish-speaking world. And this idea that you're building cultural awareness, you're finding out more about the culture of the language as it's spoken in different places, but all the time being exposed to new vocabulary, building your understanding of grammar and getting to use the language in different ways. There is an online course version of the magazine where you get the audio lessons, obviously, you get the lesson notes to work through, and vocabulary and exercises to take your learning further. And it's quite similar to the Travel Diaries, where this is a series slightly easier than the magazine. So the Travel Diaries feature a travel diary of a group of people, friends, a couple in the case of season 1 and a group of friends in season 2. The couple in season 1 are travelling along the coast, the north coast of Spain on their honeymoon, and the season 2 group of friends are travelling through South America. And again, we have the online course. Excuse me, I'm trying not to yawn, but I've been talking constantly for 4 hours, so apologies for that. The audio lessons provide you with all of the listening content. There are lesson notes which will give you the chance to do further study of what the content is in the main lessons. And the pronunciation practice videos allow you to practice that language through pronunciation practice, where we're leaving space for you to repeat what is said in the audio. We also have a reading club, and this is another way to practice or to increase your knowledge of culture associated with different places in the Spanish-speaking world. Thank you for the kind comments. I think you're putting up with my yawning. I do apologise, but thank you. I'm glad that you're appreciating the info, Mary Jane. So the reading club, as I said, this is one text per week for a year, allowing you to build your reading skills, build your listening skills too, because we provide an audio version at a slow speed and a normal speed. And also we provide vocabulary and exercises to help you work through the materials of the reading club. Now, it's one text per week for a year. See, I've caught the yawning bug now. I'm going to have to yawn at some point. I'm not going to do this on camera. If you see the camera disappear, you'll know what I'm doing. You'll probably hear it too. But anyway, so the reading club is one text a week, and if you bought that today, for example, then next Friday you would get a text 2. The following Friday another text, and so on. Now we actually have two seasons of the reading club, so if you wanted, you could buy season one today and season two on Monday, and then you would get a text every Friday and every Monday for the whole year. Nahed is asking for how long is the reading club access available. The texts take a year to come to you, but you have access to those texts forever because you can download them, you can store them on your own computer, and you can access them in the Coffee Break Academy. So you don't have to complete that in the year if you miss a few weeks or anything like that. It's very much informal learning. It's learning that you can do where and when it suits you. Okay, so those are our intermediate courses. In Marcha is a little bit further on. It's upper intermediate based on the conversations that you're listening to. Um, these are authentic conversations. You're listening to actual conversations where we are interviewing native speakers about their life. We are basing this in the south of Spain, in the region between Malaga and Nerja, Almuñécar, Frigiliana. And this is it's a lovely course because it's full of interviews with interesting people who live there and work there. And it's about the language, it's about the local culture. You're learning about people and places. And there's lots of interesting content in here in terms of vocabulary, texts, there's bonus audio content, video materials as well in Marcha. But it is a little more challenging than the masterclass, not the masterclass, the magazine and the Travel Diaries. Okay, now moving on to season three. So, season three is what we would refer to as story based learning. Lots of our advanced courses are story based learning, where you're looking at more advanced content. You've gained a level of understanding that you can use to understand a story, and the hook of the story will keep you going through it too. So in season three, there's a deeper study of the grammar and then practical examples of that language used within conversations. And you're constantly consolidating everything that you're learning. Seasons one and two, I present as I teach Cara, our learner. And in season three, I'm joined by Alba, a native speaker from Spain, who basically provides the co-hosting of the course and is our teacher for the course. And we're also joined by Jose for our little intermedio parts. And we also have contributions from speakers from different parts of Latin America within the course too. And we're also providing a kind of soap opera through season three called Verano Español. And this is where you're listening to, let's say in episodes 1 to 4, you cover different grammar points. In episode 5, one of the episodes of Verano Español, you get the opportunity to hear some of those grammar points used in natural communication within the content of Verano Español. So season three moves on then to season four, where you've got story-based learning again, and season four is all based around an adventure that happens over the course of a summer in the island of Mallorca in Spain. And we're looking here at complex grammar, idiomatic expressions, and each element of the story has, for example, there are texts, there are letters that are found, there are phone calls that you're listening to. So the whole story is delivered through different media, and we follow the story all the way through, learning all of this wonderful language in season four. So those are our complete range of Spanish courses that are available. Let me bring up this next slide, and I'm going to take me out so that you can see what is going on. Okay, in this slide, we are looking at what we call the Common European Framework of Reference for Language Learning, where you go from A1 all the way up to C2 in your program of learning. Now, I've not included C2 here. C2 is ultimately almost a native speaker level. But with our courses, you can go from A1 all the way to C1 and follow along this road, if you like, of learning. However, it's important to say this, and I don't think I've said this already in this Spanish presentation today. This road idea, I think there's a danger when we think about roads, because when you think of a road, you typically think of your destination. And I don't think language learning is about the destination. I think language learning is about the road that you go, your journey that you go on in order to aim towards a destination. But if you only think of the destination, then you don't really get the chance to enjoy the journey. So I would very much stress that that whole road that we saw there, that you are taking along the journey of your language learning, every part of it is important, whether you're an absolute beginner or whether you're working at an advanced level. So what I'd like to do is, yeah, that's the right slide. I'd like to place our Coffee Break Spanish courses on this road, as it were, so that you can see where they come. So Coffee Break Spanish Season 1 for absolute beginners. And that will take you into A2 level. And once you've completed that, then you've got Coffee Break Spanish Season 2, which you can work on around A2, moving into B1. Coffee Break Spanish Season 3, which used to be called Showtime Spanish, so you might be familiar with Showtime. This is the same content as Coffee Break Spanish Season 3. That's at a B1 into B2 level, and then Season 4, B2 onwards into C1 level with some of the content of Season 4. Now, I mentioned also that we've got a number of courses that are around the kind of middle level. So if we place the Travel Diaries in there, kind of A2-ish, into B1-ish, B1 for the magazine, pushing towards B2, and then in Marcha would be more pushing into B2. But these are sort of intermediate, lower intermediate to upper intermediate courses. So if you were wondering what the correct order, if you like, to do all of our Coffee Break Spanish content is, then I would start with Season 1. You could also add in our Coffee Break Spanish to Go series, another series which you can find on the Coffee Break Academy. And then that could go after Season 1. And then perhaps I would say do Season 2 next, then the Travel Diaries, then the magazines, then Season 3, then Season 4. And perhaps between Season 3 and 4, throw in Marcha, or do that simultaneously as you're doing Season 3, because they're quite different. But you can certainly do those around that time. So hopefully that's useful to give you an idea of the sort of order of the courses and the process that you can go through working through those courses. I'll bring back the slides now to see what next. Yeah. So next up, as you know, we are talking about our Black Friday sale. That's the reason why we're doing this live broadcast, to help you choose which course to buy, as it were. And the sample pricing here is given for example, a full season of Coffee Break Spanish. So Season 1 is £108 in the UK. That includes VAT. We have to charge VAT for the UK and Europe. We obviously also have to charge local rates of tax, for example, in certain states in the US and so on. So the price that is shown on the website will be the final price you pay. Of course, you need to remember to put in the coupon code in order to get your discount. But that £108 at the moment is down to £64.80. So a huge saving there of 40%. And the US equivalent would be $124, down to $74.40 at the moment. A shorter course, like the magazine, is £36. And again, that includes VAT, down to $21.60. And $42 in the US, down to $25.20. So those are just some sample prices. Obviously, on the Coffee Break Academy, you'll be able to see all of the pricing there. And as I said, in order to get the 40% off, you need to use the coupon code BF22. That will get you your 40% off all of our courses. And the courses, as I said, are available on the Coffee Break Academy. And if you are interested in finding out more about our Black Friday sale, then go to coffeebreaklanguages.com/BF22. Okay, try not to yawn. Here we go. So what next? I thought what might be useful is if we have a look inside the Coffee Break Academy at some of our courses. If you have any questions, please do post them in the comments. I can see all the comments, and I can post your questions on the screen, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Crucially, the sale ends on Monday. And also, very important to say, The coupon code BF22 will last until Monday. It won't change. There won't be more discount as we get towards the end of the sale. That's not what we do. We don't want someone who bought today then to be thinking, oh, I wish I had waited until Monday. The coupon code and all the sale elements are exactly the same today, right through the weekend up until the end of Monday. And don't forget to add that coupon code at checkout. Now, just maybe on that point, to use the coupon code, when you see the order summary, and you'll see that this is showing that the course is £90, then the tax is added plus £18 for this is VAT in the United Kingdom. So if you have a local sales tax, that will be added there. The total amount billed today, £108. But if you click there to add the coupon, then you enter BF22, click the apply button, and then you'll see that the amount has been brought down by 40%, meaning that you will pay £64.80. So that is the final amount that you pay, and there won't be any additional taxes or anything else added after that. Okay, so coming back to the Coffee Break Academy here, just taking you into some of the courses. If we look at, let's have a look for Coffee Break Spanish. Let's see where it is. There's Coffee Break Spanish Season 1. So we'll come into Coffee Break Spanish Season 1. Just increase the size of that a little. So you can see the lessons are separated into different topics and talking about family, introduction to numbers, jobs, likes and dislikes, and so on. So if we go into one of these, you'll see that there is a video lesson. So the video will play and you'll see that the words will appear on the screen as you listen. I won't play this just now. You have an audio version of that lesson that you can download. You have lesson notes that you can work through and follow all the explanations there. And so the lesson notes, copious lesson notes for each lesson, everything explained in a very friendly, easy way. And you can see also what we include different versions of different words as they're used in Latin America, parts of Latin America, in Spain, and so on. And then transcripts of any conversations that are included. All of this is included in the notes. And then the bonus audio there allows you to do some further practice of the language that you're working on. So if we just come back here and we'll have a look at one of the other courses. Perhaps we could look at, I'll just type in Season 4. So Coffee Break Spanish Season 4. So just to give you a feel for the extent to which you would increase your knowledge by Season 4, we'll jump into Lesson 18, for example. So you can see most of the lesson is in Spanish. Between myself and Carmen, we're talking away in Spanish, and we continue there talking a little bit of an introduction, and then the full transcript of the lesson, and any tricky vocabulary will be explained. And so then we move into English with explanations and so on, and further examples in Spanish. So lots of Spanish at a high level at this stage in Season 4. We also mentioned our magazine. So just see the Coffee Break Spanish magazine Season 4 here. So let's jump into one of our texts here. So this particular text is about the author Isabel Allende. So we have the audio here, and again, any conversation with, in this case, between myself and Annabelle is listed here, and then we see the study text. So the study text about Isabel Allende, and then vocabulary is provided with further examples and explanations of any tricky parts, all explained here. There is a vocabulary list, and so you can cover one side of the list to check that you've understood each of the words and so on. So all of this vocabulary in just one lesson, 7 pages of it, and exercises where you're going to be working on some aspect of the language. In this case, it's some practice on ser and estar, and another task where you're making past participles or adjectives that are based on past participles, and so on. So that is our Coffee Break Spanish magazine. And I'll just also quickly show you En Marcha. So I'll just look for En Marcha here. So Coffee Break Spanish, in Marcha con Coffee Break Spanish, once again, each episode, you can see here, there's the podcast episode with an episode transcript, the language study episode where we go into things in more detail, vocabulary list, the activity packs. Let's have a look at the activity pack for this. So we're listening to the dialogues or listening to the explanations, and we get a time code here. So you have to identify what those particular numbers refer to. There's multiple choice challenges there. Then a text there based on culture. So basically, it's a full activity pack based on the language included in the lesson of En Marcha. And you can see there's also some bonus video content here. This was when we were visiting Córdoba. Estamos en el tren y vamos a Córdoba. So that's the visit to Córdoba and some information about the beautiful Mezquita Cathedral in Córdoba. So some of the lessons have video content there too, and that is En Marcha. So just a quick look at the Coffee Break Academy to give you a feel for some of the kinds of content that we have there. Mary Jane has got a question here. Do you facilitate group questions when individuals want to get together to discuss anything or practice? We do have a section in most of our courses where you can ask questions and the community can come back to you, and also the team can help answer your question. So that is one aspect of the interaction on these courses. We do run another course called the Masterclass, but the Masterclass is not currently available for purchase. And the Masterclass is very much a class where everyone is working along the same timeline, and we have tutors who are assigned to provide feedback on your homework and all that kind of thing. The Masterclass is currently underway. We've got 2 classes currently underway. One started in July, which will be finishing next month, and the one started in October, which will be finishing in March. But as I say, it's not currently available. It's not part of our Black Friday sale because there's not a Masterclass available currently to buy for the future. So that would definitely facilitate what you're suggesting, Mary Jane, but it's not quite available at the moment. One other question that we got that I think I've actually mentioned already, but it has just come in via email from the team, and that is, can you download the lessons? And yes, you can indeed download the lessons to your own device, indeed multiple devices, and that way you can store them for as long as you need on your own device. And store them on your phone, for example, but also on your tablet or your computer, and have them on all your devices. So hopefully that answers the question that came in by email from Jane. Not Mary Jane, but another Jane this time. Okay, that is where I'm going to leave things. If you need to know any more about our courses, then please do go to coffeebreaklanguages.com/BF22 to make sure that you know all the details as to how to get the 40% off all our courses this weekend. This sale runs until Monday. We have similar sessions on our French courses, our German courses, our Italian courses, and in 25 minutes' time, I'm just going to do one on our Swedish course. So if you're learning Swedish, stick around for that. For now, I would like to say thank you very much indeed. Muchísimas gracias for sticking around all this time. I hope that this has been useful, and I wish you continued success with your language learning. Y muchas gracias. Y como siempre, happy coffee breaking.